copy the first fraction, factoring the denominator. So what is the factor form of the denominator? Excellent. Then plus 2 over x plus 7, but here I have to change the sign. It was positive here. When I move it to the other side, it becomes negative. And then I have to write the equal symbol and 0. At this point, I have to write two restrictions. We agree with that. Okay. Now, if you understand how to solve these rational equations, I would say to you that you have established or you have algebra skills at this point. Because it has so many steps. It goes through so many different things. Quadratic equations, linear equations, finding the least common denominator, factoring. The whole course is in here. Okay? Good. Now I have to find the LCD. And please look what I do. I draw the fraction line and I write equals 0, because if I forget this, the whole thing disappears. Good. And now I find the LCD. What is the LCD? No powers, because they have power 1. And now I have to find adjustments for the top. What is the adjustment for the first one? What is the adjustment for the second one? And for the last one? See what enough torture does? Good. Okay, I'm ready. Careful. Good. Do you all agree with this? Okay, now what do I need to do? I'm sorry, say it again. So 4x plus 2x is 6, minus 1 is? Do we all agree with 5x? And now this is negative 8, and minus 7 is negative 15, divided by x plus 7 over n x minus 2. And now, to identify what I'm doing, or here's another way at this point. You can say, when can a fraction be 0? Only if the top is 0. Because if the bottom is 0, the fraction is undefined. That's exactly what happens. This must be 0. The top must be 0 for a fraction to be 0. Or you cross multiply and you get the same thing. This is here, this is here. Therefore, x equals 3. You're asking yourselves, is that number among the restrictions? No, and you'll say yes. That's the correct answer. Any questions on this? However, we understood it. But if we don't take the time to practice it with examples from the book, it's not going to happen. I just want to show you a couple of examples from the very last section, so we can have everything done. There is nothing I can teach you in the last section. You'll see in a moment. So this is the last one, 7.7. Complex rational expressions. By complex here, we really mean difficult, but it's not difficult. Once you understand what we did so far, you will have zero difficulty here. Okay, I would like to start with problem 17 on page 500. This is the last section, last problems. Okay? From here on, we'll review for test 4 and review for the final. So 4 divided by 5 minus x plus 5 over x minus 5. Everything divided by 2 over x plus 3 over x minus 5. Yes, this is supposed to be difficult because I have operations with fractions at the top. I have operations with fractions in the denominator. And also I have to divide the answers. But it's not difficult because we understood 7.4. Okay. One denominator I don't like. Which one? This is the one I don't like because it's not in descending order and it has a negative leading coefficient. Because we practiced that, I can already write negative 4 over x minus 5. Do you agree with this? Because I factor on negative 1, I put the negative in front of the fraction line. Now the denominator is clear. I only have to state two restrictions, not 0 and not 5. and I have to find the LCD. So look at the bottom as if it is alone. Look at the top as if it is alone. So can anyone give us the least common denominator for the denominator? Very good. Can anyone give us the adjustments for the fractions found in the denominator? And x. Can anyone give us the numerator of the denominator? Very good. So nothing new. It's just that we have fraction over another fraction, or operations with fractions divided by operations with fractions. But we just address the issues top and bottom separately, like we do, or like we did before. So now I have to combine or simplify the top. So the top will be, since they have the same denominator, I only have to say 5 minus 4, right? Or negative 4 plus 5, because they have the same denominator. So 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 over x minus 5. Can anyone give us the simplified form of the denominator? What do I do with two fractions that I divide? How do I divide the top fraction by a bottom fraction? I copy the top, and what happens to the exactly? So x times x minus 5, and I see that 5x minus 10, I can pull out a 5, and I have an additional fraction that I didn't have before, additional factor in the denominator that I didn't have before, so I'm adding another restriction. Good, and now I'm ready to simplify. What am I simplifying? Is there a factor that goes away? Very good. Just x minus 5. And what is the simplified form, assuming these are fulfilled? That's it. So those complex rational expressions are not that difficult after all, because we know how to add and subtract fractions, and we know how to divide fractions. Okay, we have time for another problem or two, and that's it for today. Yeah, let's look at 15. Why not? 15. 1 over x plus 2 over x squared. Everything divided by x plus 8 over what? Over x squared. Walk me through as if you are teaching me. And the top. Excellent. Good. What will be the least common denominator of x and x squared? Of course. And it happens to have the same in the denominator. Okay. So then I need what next? After I find the LCD, of course I have to state one restriction in this case for now. X not equal. Perfect. And then can anyone dictate what we have at the top? Because x was multiplied by something to get x squared. Do you all agree with x plus 2 of the top fraction? Now, can anyone give us the denominator? Very good. X squared plus 8. Once I simplify the top into one fraction, and I simplify the bottom into one fraction, now I'm asking myself, hey, I'd simplified, now how do I divide two fractions? I copy the top, right? And I flip the denominator. I should state another restriction, but x squared plus 8 is always positive. It will never be 0. So there is no extra restriction in this case to write. Well, I'm hoping that some factor or factors go away. Does anything go away? Yes. What is the simplified form? Now you understand, I hope you understand why I said that 7.5 and 7.7 are based on 7.4. If we understand how to add and subtract rational expressions, the rest cannot be difficult. Okay, we have time for one more and then we'll stop. Let's say 37. If you can come on Wednesday, please do, because I will review starting with chapter 6, going backwards to chapter 12. Okay, for 2 hours. And then school will close at 4 o'clock. Okay, 37, last problem for today. 2a to negative 1 plus 3b to negative 2, everything divided by a to negative 1 by b and minus b to negative 1. And you can say, what is this? How is this connected to what we did so far? Well, it is. Because a to negative 1 is another way of saying or writing what? Say it again. 2 has power 1. 2 does not go anywhere. Only a to negative 1 will go somewhere. 2 over a indeed, plus 3 over b squared and 1 over a minus. Excellent. So now I know, I take it from here. I have to find the LCD for the top. I have to find the LCD for the bottom. I add as if they're not together, meaning I perform operations as if the top is alone somewhere and the bottom is alone somewhere else, but of course keep them together so I don't lose them. And then at the end, I know I divide a fraction by another fraction, and that should not be a problem. Can anyone give us the LCD for the top? Is it b squared? All different factors have to be in the denominator. AB squared. Can anyone give us the adjustments for the top? So the b squared is the adjustment for the top of the first one. And a is the adjustment for the last one. So yes, you're right. You will say 2b squared plus 3a. You don't have to state restrictions if there are two variables in the problem. You have to, but I don't want to make it complicated. Okay? So if you get something like this, you don't have to write restrictions. You can just say on the side, assume denominators are not 0. I'm fine with that. So I know that you know what you're thinking about, but I'm not really interested in two variables or more. Okay, the least common denominator for the bottom. What do you need for the tops? Good, so you're right, b minus a. Assume all denominators are not 0. Now, what do? I have simplified the top into one fraction. I have simplified the bottom into one fraction. What now? Copy the numerator, very good, and multiply by ab over b minus a. I'm hoping that something will go away. Will anything go away? Careful, yes. A and A, perfect. And 1b from the top with 1b from the bottom. So then the simplified form will be 2b squared plus 3a. Don't even bother to rearrange it. I'm fine with this answer. Assuming all denominators are not 0.